Welcome back to State of Decay 2 and The Lion's Share. I've got a question up here from Brian Menard that I kind of ignored during the previous episode. He asks, do you think it's possible to see a significant overhaul or changes made to the legacy system, with survivors and enclaves? So I can't get into any details, but I can tell you sort of the places where we've seen, gaps in our systems, places where we think, the game could probably be handled a little bit better. One thing we've definitely seen is that the legacy pool is a frustrating traffic jam of characters. Like, you're able to put, 11, 12 characters in there at a time, but you can only pull out 3 at a time. And so that means that unless you're actually just mulching people in the lethal zone again and again and again, you're probably going to end up in a situation where you've got way more characters you want to put in than you're even capable of pulling out. So we know that that's a really frustrating, for long-term players. For brand new players, they don't even notice that problem. But for long-term players, it really starts to get tiresome that, you're supposed to be able to finish these legacy missions and keep these communities of people, but you hit the limit so fast, it's just, you get 4 legacies and you're basically there. It stops feeling like a reward over time getting to keep your characters, unless you could pull them out just as fast and build a dream team of your favorite characters. So we recognize that as being a thing that players want, and they've been asking for it for a really long time. And thus far, we haven't found the right sort of set of circumstances to implement something along those lines. But we might be able to sometime in the near future. That's our hope. We haven't done all the research yet, so I can't promise you exactly what could happen. But that is something we're looking into. But there's also, the legacy system in general, the idea that you can, win the game multiple times and over time accumulate rewards for that. It was meant to kind of feel like Breakdown, where you play, multiple iterations of the game again and again and again, and each time you unlock things that benefit you in the next round. It was characters in Breakdown. And while, State of Decay 2 doesn't really have bespoke characters except for in a few very rare instances, legacy boons were meant to be that kind of reward, that you play the game multiple times, play it cyclically, get to go through that early game experience and the late game experience multiple times, and then get rewarded for it. That was the intent of that system, and we ended up needing to cut it way down from our original ambitions in order to ship the game. And so originally we were not going to just have 4 legacies. We were going to have tons of legacies, and it was going to be this, community customization feature that it really did not turn out to be, but that's an area where we've seen by the way, I realized that there's a reappearing and disappearing ghost in my base while I've been talking. It's kind of weirding me out and distracting me, anyway, sorry, I don't know what was I talking about. We know that the boon system, it's got a lot of potential. You just look at it and you understand immediately, what this could be. There could be lots of different boons. There could be negative boons that people who want more difficulty could kick in. There could be all kinds of stuff to really sort of flesh out the variety and customization of your community. And it's just, we haven't done it. We've got the same 4 boons from the very beginning. Even when we added difficulties, we just kept the same 4 boons, just iterated across the difficulty levels. So there's a lot of space there. It's one of our systems that actually feels the least developed. It represents almost a prototype of the idea, but it's not really acting on the idea. So that's another area where, it would take a long time to sort of rebuild a system like that. So I would definitely not bank on that happening very soon. But it's, as we're sort of, the way that I view State of Decay, ongoing development of State of Decay 2, is that it's almost like, those dice games where you roll some dice and you sort of look at what you see, the sort of outcome that you got from rolling those dice, and then you get to re-roll some of your dice and try for a better outcome. I feel like State of Decay 2 it's like we rolled a whole bunch of dice, and some of the dice came up 6s and 5s. There's some things in this game that were really, really good, but then we also got a handful of 1s and 2s. There's parts of the game that just did not work out the way that we'd hoped they would, or were just underdeveloped, or things didn't come together the way we imagined that they would in our heads when we were first, picturing this game. But the thing that we get to do now, post-release, is we get to pick up the 1s and the 2s and re-roll them. And so over time, as we sort of zero in on the systems of the game that are, the least exciting, the least well-developed, maybe some of them are disappointing, or they clash with each other in awkward ways, we can take those and we can pick them up one at a time and re-roll them. Until eventually, if we get to do it long enough, we're all, you know, 4s, 5s, and 6s across the board, and not this smattering of 6s and 1s that we currently have. So yeah, so whenever you sort of call out a part of the game that is particularly underdeveloped or particularly disappointing, like the legacy system, like the limits on the legacy pool, those are the first things that we're likely to try to go after. You can, you know, tracing back, you can sort of see that in our history that, you know, Plague Hearts were kind of a half-baked system. Plague Territory was meant to sort of re-roll that die, you know, that was kind of a 2, and re-roll it to maybe get a 4 out of it instead. You know, Homecoming was there because, you know, a lot of our storytelling, you know, was kind of, it turned out kind of slipshod because of the, like, just weird mismatch between trying to tell stories with plot in them and the arbitrary control the player has over their journey through the game. There's the ghost again! You see that? What is going on? Why did you just appear? Yeah, you're creepy. Quit looking at me like that. Anyway, what was I talking about? This ghost is, like, distracting the heck out of me. Oh, Adam Survives brings up the idea of having a clock in the HUD being another... Yeah, that is another big missing piece. We've got so many things that depend on the time of day, and we don't tell you what time of day it is. Why? Why? What? Why? That doesn't make any sense. So, you know, we got to make sure the right resources are lined up. But yeah, that is also high on my list of things that I'd love to do. Oh yeah, like, you know, we did the Homecoming update to sort of take another stab at storytelling in our world and different ways that you could handle it that may work better than what we did, you know, on our original release. And so we're always looking for stuff like that, places where the game... Oh my gosh! Places where the game, you know, could be better. And so, yeah, so when we're zeroing in on that stuff, basically, you know, when I recognize, yeah, those are a couple of the biggest glaring sort of empty spots, missing pieces in our game, that means that that it's going to be high on our list for making changes. All right, so my character here is tired, but he's going to drink some coffee and he's going to keep going because we got stuff to do.
Without me for a while.
Somebody's at base with some offer or another. Come hear him out.
Oh, a mysterious stranger. Oh, what is happening with their... What is happening with... Oh, you can't see it. What is going on? Is it because they were... Oh, it's because I had them highlighted, but they were moving. It was just jittering around like crazy. Oh, fascinating. Okay, so I need to make a couple of little notes here. So at the beginning of my second video, we've got a ghost, and we've also got a jittery flyout. So we'll, yeah. Beginning of second video. Yeah, I'll have to look into those. Am I in the mood for a mysterious stranger? I don't know. Maybe. I don't really go on these missions a lot, actually. Kale made like 7 of these.
Only nastier.
Hey, I'm right here.
Wait, what? Oh no. Okay, hold on.
Hello.
Yeah, sure. I'd like a sample of
Just
whatever.
happy to help.
Oh, some Zed-Eye. Sweet. Yeah, sure. Why not?
Good to hear that.
Let's go on a mission with you. And let's just not worry about that Juggernaut. Okay, where are we gonna go? Where is this? All the way up there? Well, you know what? That's where I was headed anyway, honestly. This is kind of fine. But... Okay, he's facing away. He's leaving. Let's just ignore that Juggernaut. Get in the car and go. Oh, wait a minute. We're out of gas. We're out of gas. Just a second. I think we've got... Okay, let's drop off our rucksacks. Couldn't do it before because I was being chased by ferals. I don't really need to use the Zed-Eye right now. I don't even know what it would do in the daylight, so... Let's just load it all up. It's close enough, right? Yeah, we'll deal with this Juggernaut when we get home, infected with Blood Plague, and we're dying. That'll be a good time to do that. Okay, so we got an infestation up there.
Juggernaut sighted.
See you later, buddy. Haha. Oh, bloater. Yeah. Another one. This is gonna bite me someday. All right. Let's go cross country. Yeah, Brian Menard is suggesting that one of the things that we learned from the Homecoming update is that it's actually kind of cool to put map-specific content in a map. To really, it sort of can flesh out the map in a really nice and interesting way. You know, because I mean, each map, of course, has got its own character, and like last episode, I was pointing out, you know, one of the little bits of environmental storytelling that the artists do here, but it's just kind of the artists by themselves. We're not really, you know, historically we haven't really collaborated a lot across multiple disciplines to tell some of these environmental stories. It's mostly the artists tell their own stories. You know, I'll tell a story with a trait. You know, Andy will tell a story with a driving conversation. Like, we've got all these different ways to tell little stories, but we haven't really been merging them to tell something that's really coherent. But in Trumbull Valley, we did. You know, we had designers, writers, and artists all working together to sort of use all of their tools to tell map-specific stories. And yeah, that is absolutely a thing that we could consider doing in the future. Oh, interesting. We've got a marker in the ground. That's cool. Real quick, I'm going to make a note of that. We're at almost minute 52. 51 something. Got a marker in the ground. Usually that's something that can be corrected just by, I think, adjusting a sight volume or something. So I think that won't be a big deal. There we go.
Shut up already.
I love when I say "shut up already" to a screamer that has not made a sound. Oh, I don't have any fire anymore.
Okay, Destin's on the way.
Probably used too many 7.62 bullets on this, but
Alright,
whatever.
Let's look around a bit.
Yeah, I wonder if I'm to find any chemicals inside this, you know, inside these gas pumps.
Maybe we can trade this to someone.
I'm betting what we want is in here.
Got it. I think this is what we're looking for.
Wow.
Going far with all this.
Here you go.
Thanks. Please take this. You definitely earned it. Stay safe, all right?
Did she put something in my inventory? Yes, she did. We're weirdly inconsistent about how we give you stuff. That really bothers me. Some missions will drop things straight in your inventory, and some will drop things on the ground and make you pick them up, like a weird high school bully. Being like, oh look, oh why don't you pick that up? Like, oh, like they're supposed to hand you something and they drop it and they make you pick it up. Like, that's that's how our NPCs feel a lot of the time. Oh, fun feral times over there. So, Uwaya Gogo Uwaya Mayone just showed up in chat and asked, is that game fun or trash? First of all, I reject your false dichotomy that a game is either fun or trash. I think games, you know, there's a wide spectrum of games that serve a lot of different emotional needs, and very few of them would I actually consider trash. Even ones that I don't like, there's oftentimes a good reason for the game to exist, even if I'm not in its audience, and I'd really hesitate to call a game trash. But Raneth Gord is correct that asking the design director of a game whether the game is fun or trash, I don't know if that's going to really give you an answer that feels valuable. I mean, of course I think the game is fun, obviously. I guess, actually, you know what? That's not always a guarantee. You can't always assume that the design director of a game thinks the game is fun. I have worked on many games that, even before they released, I was pretty sure they were not fun. But we had to ship them anyway, and that's just the situation you're in sometimes. So yeah, I guess, you know, I take that back. Sometimes you actually can ask the design director of a game if a game is fun, and they'll tell you no. no, my game is trash. But sometimes that's correct. But usually, one thing you probably won't find, though, is a design director of a game who'll tell you that publicly on a stream. There are definitely games I've worked on that I would say are trash, but I wouldn't say it while the game was being sold, and I was, part of my responsibility was to try to make the game successful. Like, the last thing I would do is try to undermine it in public. I might tell you in private that I think our game is trash,
This will come in handy.
but I wouldn't say it in public. In this case, though, I mean, I think I've got pretty solid. I can make a pretty solid case that the amount of time I spend playing this game means that I like it. This is a game that one of the few games I've worked on that I really am incredibly proud of, and proud of what the team has accomplished, because I spent a lot of my career working on licensed games based on kids movies and stuff like that, things that no one expects to be good, and I also just didn't play them very much in my own time. Like, why? They were just my day job. When I wanted to have fun, I would play other people's games. But State of Decay 2 is something special for me. It actually is a game that I've worked on that feels to me like the kind of game I would be playing like crazy, even if I hadn't worked on it, even if it wasn't my job. And that's actually pretty rare. More rare than you might realize. I mean, especially because, there are very few people on any game who've got the level of creative control necessary to make the game exactly what they want. Most people on a game team are making a small part of the game, and don't, can't just arbitrarily make it whatever they want and make it the kind of game that they would love to play. So even if they're passionate and just love games and stuff, oftentimes the game they're working on is not, their perfect ideal game. And that's fine. It doesn't have to be. I mean, even, for me, somebody in my position, I don't get to just make arbitrary choices about what goes into the game and what doesn't. Every choice I make has to be justifiable. We have to, when we decide what updates to make to the game, there's a case that we need to make for why it's worth spending all those resources to make a thing happen. And so I can't just sort of do whatever would make it my dream game, whatever would make me happy. I have to actually think through and make a case for what will make the audience happy and what will make the game successful.
Where should I put this?
So there are very few people who are in a position to just make whatever game they want, and they're usually people who have succeeded in the past at other games that didn't get to be everything they wanted. They had to sort of like earn their position in the industry by doing things that weren't their favorite, and then over time they got the chance to make games that were their favorite. In my case, I just lucked out. Like, I didn't have any grand accomplishment that I did before getting on the State of Decay team. I just happened to, know the right people and meet the right people at the right time and have sort of exactly the right, pre-existing thoughts, exactly the right resume to get in, right after the original State of Decay shipped. And it just happened to be that they were already making my ideal game. Like, I didn't have to go somewhere and persuade a bunch of people that they needed to devote a ton of time and resources to make my favorite game. They were already making my favorite game when I arrived. I just got to sort of
Better not have to run carrying all this.
jump on board and help out, which was surprising and unusual. And so yeah, my situation is extremely, extremely rare. Yeah, so Owaya Gogo Wayo Mayone, if you are just looking for a zombie game to pass your time, I mean, it really depends on what you're looking for. If what you like about zombie games is sort of the like the Left 4 Dead type experience, where it's mostly about just the excitement of just killing scads and scads and scads of zombies, this game has that, but it's not the only thing you're worried about. It's not just sort of a quick in and out, sort of like jump in and get some violent fun and then move on. It's like you have to build a community and scavenge for food, and there's a lot more to it than just the zombie combat. So if you're a zombie combat person, our game has that, but it's spaced out amongst a bunch of other activities. Grab that out of there.
It's not safe
But
here yet.
we do in recent months, we actually, or I guess in recent years, we have added some things to the game to make that a little easier, though. Like, if you really are someone who really likes challenging zombie combat but isn't necessarily
Going far with all this.
super entertained by base building and resource scavenging and stuff like that. You can actually, we've got customizable difficulty over here. Like right now, I've got my map difficulty set to lethal, which means that I've got, we started with a lot of enemy control on the map, and I don't have a lot of resources available to me. I've got dread community difficulty, which is kind of in the middle, and then action difficulty is nightmare, which means the combat is particularly hard, though not as hard as it could be. And so, like, I've sort of customized this to be, like, a certain kind of experience. So you can do that, too. Like, if you're a particular type of zombie fan and you wanted to grab this game, you could customize it to be at least closer to the type of game you want. Another advantage of this game is if you're already paying for Game Pass, this won't cost you anymore. Because we are, you know, we're a Microsoft game. We are on Game Pass, and so you can just sort of get it at no additional charge if you're already paying for that. If you're not, of course, that's not a draw for you. All right, so let's drop off more stuff here. Yeah, just dumping all this stuff out. So one thing I'm doing right now, so I did a session a while back on the official, you know, Undead Labs' official State of Decay 2 stream, where I just blasted through this map and did a ton of combat with a couple of co-op partners. And now what I'm doing is the stuff you do in between the combat. I'm going around and actually scavenging all of the equipment that was left behind as we were just sort of blitzing the map. And so that takes a little bit more time, but it does give me a chance to, like, chat with people and stuff, which is really useful for me. A lot of the folks in my audience are players of this game who can, you know, give me a lot of feedback and insight into, so I'm not just having my own experience right now with the game. I'm also benefiting from all of their experiences. Razaxer says that they wish that they had larger settlements. That is an interesting thing because, you know, because usually you kind of have to pick the scale that you're operating on. Like if, you know,
Not a shambling corpse to be seen.
the type of base building that we would include if we were trying to, you know, support a settlement of like 100 people is just really different from the type of settlement building we would do, you know, for a team of 9 people. And there's different infrastructure that we would build. There's, you know, so if you are looking for the type of game where, you know, your settlements can be very large, the entire game would kind of have to be built around that. It does feel like maybe, you know, what you're thinking of is a future game in the franchise, or, you know, or just a different game altogether. I don't think that State of Decay 2,
We should all learn from these folks' example.
like, we could raise the community size. There are a lot of weird problems we'd have to solve to do it. It would be a giant headache. Theoretically, we could raise the community size of State of Decay 2 a little bit. But I don't think that we could raise it by, like, an order of magnitude. I don't think we could go from, you know, a 1-digit, occasionally 2-digit number of people to a 2- or 3-digit number of people. Like, that would be well beyond what would sort of make sense for a game like this. Let me just quickly drop off this gas can. And head back down. More scavenging. More scavenging. So yeah, so Razaxer says that apparently they've been modding their game and they've got like 30 people in their community, but they can't provide beds for them all. Yeah, exactly. And so like we've built our systems with a certain scale of community in mind, and they're balanced against that scale of community. And so we can't just easily go and say, oh, well, now you can have twice as many characters, because everything would have to change to accommodate that. And accommodating a really wide range of different community sizes would also mean just a very different structure to the game. And I don't think that's necessarily in the cards for us. But that doesn't mean you'll never have, you know, somewhere in the future that we'll never have larger communities. I mean, maybe that's something that a future game could do.
Nothing more to see.
Not telling you any specifics, though. I'm not trying to... Please don't take that as I've now told you what's going to happen in the future of the franchise. That's very seriously an unknown quantity right now. But I'm just saying that that might be a more appropriate place to invest your hopes than State of Decay 2. I don't think State of Decay 2 is going to go to communities of 30 people anytime soon. Okay, my engine's starting to smoke.
Watch the feral.
One bullet, one feral. All right. So we'll drop all this stuff off. I think we're kind of getting towards the end. The sun is starting to go down. And this vehicle, I mean, it's on its last legs. I don't have the ability to craft any more toolkits right now until I can find a new mechanic or just somebody with no fifth skill, which I also have had trouble finding. Until I find a character who's a mechanic, I'm going to basically be spending my influence to get new vehicles, to get new fancy vehicles to the radio, to replace them. So I'm just going to run vehicles into the ground. But I do want to at least empty this vehicle out. Like, I want to get it home and empty it out before replacing it. Because, like, if I mess it up out here, getting all those stupid rucksacks home is going to be a nightmare. So, now where did we hide our plague heart? There it is. So grab this.
That's a lot of stuff.
Oh, we can almost take everything. So, actually, I don't need that. I've already got literally that exact same item in my pocket.
Is anyone out there? I could use a little help.
Who is this now?
I got this.
Where's the Wandering Trader? Near the base. Okay. Sure, maybe this is a mechanic. Probably isn't. Oh, stop it. If this is a mechanic, then this could totally be worthwhile. So, let's take our smoking car over here. Again! Wow. Hold on a second. What time is this? 107? There's another marker in the ground at 107. Weird. Okay. Is it chronic in this map? That just like a lot of our sort of unenclavable sites have underground markers? We just haven't caught it yet? So where is this character? I don't think you can go inside this building. Are they on the roof? Yes, they're on the roof. Hey there, Miriam.
Hello.
The spoon and cone?
Oh, that's wonderful.
What do you bet her friends are dead? Okay, so that's pretty close. We can do that. Let's try to not ram any zombies on the way over. That means die and die, because they're going to climb right on the car the moment I give them the chance. Okay, let's back up and take the road. I got to be pretty precious with this car. Okay, there's a bloater. Let's just stay away from everyone. Oh, and a screamer. Well, at least the screamer's over there behind me.
I think that's it.
All right, let's get over here. Oh no!
No.
Oh no!
Someone's got to still be alive in there, right? So what is this going to mean for us? Where is everyone? It's like they just vanished.
That's too bad.
That's creepy. I don't know if I've played that mission before. That's a creepy one. They're just gone? Okay. Weird.
I feel like passing out.
Yeah, the character's super tired. Let's head back home. And maybe we can do a little bit of trading after we get home, and then we'll be done. Okay, again, let's not hit every zombie on the way. Brian Menard is suggesting that we could add horses to the game as like as a more silent way to travel long distances. That's an appealing idea. I mean, I definitely have been enjoying the horses I've been riding in Far Cry 6. It's nice because I can sort of take them on those guerrilla paths, you know, and they're not really as bound to paved roads. I wouldn't say that horses are necessarily quiet, though. There's a lot of clipping and clopping when you're traveling around with a horse, at least on hard terrain.
I'm really glad I can be a part of this family.
And even on grass, I think there's some serious thumping that goes on, though maybe not so much if you're keeping it slow. Okay, yeah, sure. Let's keep going this way. But the main thing to worry about in State of Decay 2 right now is just, I mean, that's a quadruped. Adding a quadruped to a game that's never had a quadruped in it before is a big deal. It's easy to sort of not realize what a big deal it is to try to put an animal with 4 legs in a game. That's a lot of hard work because getting the legs to all line up with the ground. I mean, 2 legs are easy. It's very easy to just sort of simply simulate the physics of a person landing on the ground and sort of adjust their 2 feet to sort of to line up with the ground as best you can after you've decided where they are vaguely, you know, in space. But doing it with 4 legs and a body that you would expect to tilt. Oh no! Right. Okay. Let's not destroy the car. That's what I care about right now. So let's get out of the car. All right. What are we gonna do about this guy?
Fire in the hole!
His face is full of crossbow bolts.
I should reload.
Oh, look at that little face full of crossbow bolts. It's so cute. Oh, is he down?
Keep this up.
Yes.
This is with access to water.
Oh, thank you for giving me that feedback about the base in the middle of a juggernaut fight. Idiot.
Drop off successful.
Okay, we've made it. Let's empty out this car so that we can just blow it up or something and replace it with a new one. Also drop off the rest of this stuff. All right. So now, where do we stick this car? Honestly, I should have let the Juggernaut destroy it. Guess I'll just, I don't know, stick it over here somewhere. We need a new car. So, let's pick a car. Let's say, what about this one?
Send me some wheels.
You've got people who can do that?
There we go. Of course, we've got the wrong icon.
Stay down.
Oh, this bug drives me crazy. Yeah, so the Gambler here, it doesn't have the greatest carrying capacity, but it's great off-road. I have been driving off-road a lot lately, so here's my new ride. And I think that's about it for this morning. You know, my character, what's his name again? Gary. I got to get to know these characters a little bit better, because for so long I've been treating them as like throwaway characters for the official.
I know it's ugly work.
For the
but
official
we can't
stream.
slack off on wiping out the plague hearts.
But yeah, I should start getting to know him. So this is Gary. This is Scary Gary. That's his name. This guy's Scary Gary. So I think we're done with Scary Gary for now, and it's time for us to wrap things up. Let me just real quick glance over the chat again, make sure I'm not leaving anything glaringly unanswered. Razaxer says that they've got way too much influence and we need to raise the cap on influence. That's an interesting question, yeah, because, I mean, how much should you let someone accumulate a currency, right? Because at some point, you get to have so much that it just is meaningless to you. You know, it doesn't matter how much we charge for something when you've got that much more. And so if we never want, you know, the game to put you in that situation where you just don't care anymore, then we have to put some kind of limit on it. But softer limits are better. Limits where, you know, there's maybe, for instance, where there's a lot of really good sinks and there's things to spend the currency on that feels satisfying. You know, that's a better way to handle it than just enforcing caps a lot of the time, though. You know, like for instance, you know, in The Last of Us 2, you've got really hard caps on all of the resources that you pick up from the world. And there's a reason for that, because they want you to actually use the things that you're crafting with those resources. And if you could just accumulate an endless amount of the resources, you'd probably just hoard it forever and never actually use the things. But the fact that you can see yourself leaving things behind makes you want to use the stuff that's in your inventory and then have a better experience overall. You know, countering your intrinsic tendency to hoard. Brian Menard asks, will you guys be doing feature reveal streams eventually for State of Decay 3 like you did with this game? I expect something along those lines. It's hard to say because, you know, because we haven't even begun the conversations about how marketing State of Decay 3 will work. And so I assume that a big part of it will probably be us in person talking to you about the game, because that's what we've done in the past. But you know, I can't make any promises because there's a lot of people who need to sign off on a plan like that before it becomes real, and so I can't tell you exactly what we're gonna do. It's just too far in the future. Yeah. Let's see here. You know, I think we're probably good. So let's wrap this episode up, and then we'll go play something else. So if you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, I'm going to stick a button right there for YouTube people. And YouTube people can also click on the next video, which will be there someday. This might be my last one for this weekend, so it might take a while for me to fill that spot in. But hopefully there's something there for you.